The following contains images that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Afternoon, July 2nd, 1863, the wheat field, the site of some of the most savage, bloody, and chaotic fighting during the entire Battle of Gettysburg. At the time, the 26-acre field was owned by George Rose and held no military value at all, but was situated in the middle of both General Sickles and Longstreet's lines, and as a result, both armies fought for control in a confusing and intertwined series of bloody assaults. The wheat field on the afternoon of July 2nd, 1863 exchanged hands as many as 6 times. Today, historians still struggle with the understanding of what happened in the wheat field and who was where. For the most information and the most in-depth information on the wheat field battle, please go visit the American Battlefield Trust here on YouTube, and you can gain an understanding from the most excellent experts in the field today. So go visit them here on YouTube. After the battle, it is said that one man could walk from one end of the field to the other, just stepping on bodies. That night, the wounded on the battlefield told stories of having to fend off wild hogs with bayonets or the butts of rifles or whatever they could get their hands on, because wild hogs were eating the dead. So more than 20,000 men on both sides fought in the area, and total casualty estimates were as high as 6,100, making the wheat field the bloodiest piece of concentrated ground in Gettysburg. Today we visit the Rose Farm and the Rose Woods, the site where Alexander Gardner took some of the most famous photographs of Confederate dead after the Battle of Gettysburg. We will dive into some of those and also the findings of William A. Frazanito, a very famed historian who studied the pictures of Gettysburg. So let's head to the Rose Farm and jump into it.
So this is the Reverend Father William Corby, and he was the chaplain of the 88th Regiment of the New York Infantry, 2nd Brigade, 1st Division, 2nd Corps, known as the Irish Brigade. On July the 2nd, 1863, well, he blessed the men before they went into battle from somewhere near this tree over here in the rock up under the tree. I don't think this is the actual rock he was on, but very neat story. If you look over to my front here, you'll see a home. That is a Whitecart house, and that house was said to be piled with arms and legs outside the windows, and the family's rug was used for a burial pit for soldiers. So originally part of a large tract of land that Jacob Sherfley got in 1805, this stone house is referred to as the Rose Farm. It has hosted more casualties than any farm in American history. More men have died here at the Rose Farm than anywhere else in America. Both the house and the large barn, which was destroyed decades ago in the storm, was constructed from hundreds of wagon loads of stone, and all of that stone comes from the surrounding area. So they've kind of reconstructed it a little bit, and this is now what we call the Rose Farm. The Rose Farm is synonymous with the Battle of Gettysburg. It is almost smack dab in the center of both the wheat field and the peach orchard. I mean, you just can't get out of the way of this. And I don't know if I mentioned it in the peach orchard video. I may have got some of that wrong when I was referring to the barn, because I think what we were actually seeing was the Rose Farm. So like I said, it's easy to kind of get turned around a little bit once you make your first trip here to Gettysburg, and you'll find that out. You especially when you're having to go as fast as I'm going today with stuff. But if you'll look right here, there are two trees, and in this area, General Joseph Kershaw, South Carolina Brigade, passed on both sides of the buildings, and they took heavy artillery fire from the Wheatfield Road area during this assault on what Kershaw had called the Stony Hill. Later, General Paul Sims' Georgia Brigade joined in on Kershaw's right and probably squared off against Brooks' brigade during a counterattack of Caldwell's division. John Rose fled the property here at the Rose Farm with his with, you know, a lot of his belongings. He left a lot of their livestock behind, and he returned to find his property basically decimated here. Now, a photographer at the end of the Gettysburg battles come to the Rose Farm here, and he'd done something that we refer to now as death studies. His name was Alexander Gardner. And about July 4th, July 5th, he had staged a bunch of, where they had come out here and they staged a couple of bodies in different places or took them from different areas. But a lot of these bodies are in photographs you see of Gettysburg now. They were actually taken here on the Rose Farm. So him and two assistants arrived here on July the 5th. There was burial parties here at the Rose Farm on top of this hill, and where we are headed to now. And they have believed to have been buried by July the 7th, but numerous accounts said that they had very substantial dead here. So, research by a historian named William A. Frassino, if I can pronounce his name right, which I have his book, established that there were plenty of dead on the Rose Farm as Alexander Gardner roamed the field. The 37 photos of human dead at Gettysburg represent more than 1/3 of all known photographs of dead soldiers on Civil War battlefields. These 37 photos show the bodies of around 88 soldiers who were killed outright on the field of Gettysburg. Now, from what I've read, it is believed that most of these men were Confederate, and half of these soldiers that he photographed in those 37 photos were right here at the Rose Farm, and his wagon was parked right there. And I'll show you a picture here into the video of where his wagon was. If we'll make it through here, we're going to actually crawl through or find our way through this fence somehow and get on that side to show you what I mean. All right, so I don't know if we're gonna make it through here or not. I'm doing my best here. Yep, we do have an opening up ahead, I think. Gettysburg is kind of confusing to get around a little bit. I do have plenty of guides and driving tours, but we do have a way to get through. Okay, so we're on this side of where he photographed the dead, and we're gonna make our way in here. And this is the field where a lot of these dead were photographed. His wagon was parked somewhere in this vicinity right here. And the dead bodies were taken by these rocks that you see in these fields. And he matched these up. Now, I'm not a good guy at matching things up like that, but I know right in this area over here is where a lot of these bodies from the Rose Farm were laid. And since we are here, we're gonna walk over here and actually look at these rocks, and I'll show you how he matched these up. Now, one indication was taken from this angle here. You could clearly see a wagon right in here, the barn's behind it, and then these stones were basically his points where he was able to match up exactly where these soldiers died. Or were laying here. Doesn't mean they were necessarily, you know, killed here, but this is the rocks of the Rose Farm. So, all right, on to the next spot. We're going to go and examine day 3 of the Battle of Gettysburg. I know we have not hit everything from July the 2nd. Do apologize, because you need numerous days here in Gettysburg to do so. It's just not possible all in one day at all. And when you think about how stuff like this comes about, it's just mind-boggling. You know, when events like this in history take place and you're able to come out and see these places, and the job that the National Park Service does is tremendous. The job that the American Battlefield Trust does is absolutely just beyond awesome. I mean, when you can come out and see these places for yourself, see where these events happen, see, you know, what happened, where it happened, who was here, you know, all of this stuff, it just, you can't really put a price tag on that. I mean, these are important events to American history, and we should know about them. And thanks to photographers like, you know, these guys were able to have these photos of the past, and then other historians are able to come along, put the pieces together, and teach the past to us. And as a kid, I remember looking at these photos from this farm, and it's a surreal feeling being here. Now, I wanted to do some then and now photos, but I don't have enough time to match up all the angles and to actually do that. I just don't have the time. So hopefully this makes up for it, and I can show you some photographs that were actually taken here by him for some of those 37 photographs, and the majority of them were here at the Rose Farm. So hope you enjoy, and on to the next place, day 3, July, Gettysburg. Let's see you there.